quantity of elaichi oats. Now here I've taken a pan, turned on the heat, and I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of clarified butter or ghee. Now once the ghee melts, I'm going to add half a cup of oats. So this is my quarter cup measure, so I'm using it twice, so you get half a cup of oats. Now I'm using the Quaker oats. You can use whatever oats you use generally. And now I'm just going to fry this oats really well in this clarified butter or ghee for at least half a minute till all of the oats nicely gets coated with the ghee. So we're going to do this on a low to medium flame. And once our oats is nicely roasted, we're going to add 1 cup of milk. And we're going to mix the 2 ingredients really well together. Again, cooking on a low flame for just half a minute so that the oats gets nicely cooked in the milk. Now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cardamom powder. And for those of you who want to know how I make my homemade cardamom powder, you can watch the video till the end. And now just mix everything well. Like I said, just for half a minute, we're going to cook the oats in the milk and with the elaichi powder added to it. Turn off the flame. And now I'm just going to transfer it into bowls. So I'm making two sets of bowls of this breakfast elaichi oats. And I'm just going to add a little bit more of milk. That's completely optional. So if you like it to be a little on the drier side, you can skip the milk. So I'm just adding about 2 tablespoons of milk to each of the bowls, mixing it really well. And like I said, for the sweetness factor, we're just going to add some lovely dry fruits. So here I have 1 tablespoon of dried apricots that I've just chopped into small pieces. 1 tablespoon of cranberries. So you can add whatever dry fruits you have at home or whatever you like in your oats. Next, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of blueberries. And for that lovely crunch, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of almonds. So you can add walnuts, you can add cashew nuts, you can add even fresh strawberries, raspberries, apples, whatever you like with your oats. Because that will be the sweetness factor, so you don't need to add any sugar, jaggery or any kind of sweetening agent. And that's it, guys. Your lovely cardamom flavored oats is all ready. You can have it piping hot, or you can have it at room temperature, or even refrigerated for about a minute, 2 minutes or 3 minutes and have it. Now for the elaichi powder, which is super simple. Now I'm making about 2 tablespoons of elaichi powder, but we are using just 1 teaspoon for this recipe. So here I've taken about 12 to 13 cardamom pods. These are the green cardamom pods. Now I'm going to add them to my mortar and pestle, and I'm just going to lightly, crush the pods so that they open. So you just give them a light crush like this. And then you will see that they open up instantly. And then all you have to do is just take out the lovely elaichi or cardamom from the pods. Now I like to retain the covering or the pod, and I use it when I'm making my tea. I just add it to the tea when I'm boiling my tea, and that adds a lovely elaichi kind of a flavor to the tea. Even if you're making rice, if you're boiling rice, you can add this. For some pulao rice or biryani rice, you can add the pods also. They add a lot of flavor. So once you have finished, getting the elaichi out of the pods, then all you have to do is just crush it to a very fine powder. So I like to make a batch of, about 2 or 3 tablespoons and keep it in my in a small little glass bottle and put it in my refrigerator or even at room temperature. And whenever I need to use it for any recipe, it's available. It's better that you keep it in the refrigerator because that will, it will enhance the life of the powder. So you can either keep it as a very coarse powder or you can make it a real fine powder. The choice is yours. And the aroma of this lovely freshly ground cardamom is so heavenly. It's really, really nice. So this was how I make my cardamom powder, because I get a lot of questions from beginners as to Akshita, can you show us how you make, the cardamom powder or ground. I mean, when you're grinding pepper powder at home, how do you make it? So this is just a tip, and that's it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's recipe and give it a try. And I'll catch you soon in my next video. Bye. Let's see today's delicious meatloaf recipe with which you can make delicious sandwiches. So let's start with the easy and quick recipe. So now in a pan, I've taken just about 1/4 teaspoon of oil, and I'm going to fry 250 grams of bacon. Now we want to fry the bacon till it's nice and crispy on both sides. And it doesn't require extra oil because the bacon itself, because of a little bit of fat, does leave out some oil. So that helps to fry it and make it nice and crispy. So here you can see the bacon is nice and crisped up. So once it's done, we're going to take it out of the pan and let it cool to room temperature. And then I'm just going to chop it up really fine using a nice sharp knife. Now you can use a regular bacon, or you can also use chicken bacon. And I'd like to know whether you even get vegan bacon. I have heard of it, but not really sure. So let me know in the comments section whether you've ever eaten vegan bacon. So now chop it really, really fine. And since it's nice and crispy, so the process is really easy. Now once that is done, I'm just going to add 1 more teaspoon of oil to my pan, and I'm going to fry 1 medium onion that I've chopped really fine. So we want to fry the onion till it's nice and translucent. I'm using a red onion. You can also use the white onion. And now I've just taken about 2 tablespoons of garlic, which is about 4 large cloves of garlic, and chopped them really fine. And I'm going to fry the garlic well too. So this dish doesn't have a lot of ingredients, but the end result is really amazing. And I love making this meatloaf on a Sunday and keeping it in my refrigerator. So whenever hunger strikes, just cut it up into thin slices, butter up some nice slices of bread, and you have your lovely meatloaf sandwiches ready. This is a great kids snack, or even a tiffin item, or just something when hunger strikes. So now I'll fry the bacon, the onions and the garlic really well. And now here I've taken 500 grams of mince. To that I'm going to add the fried bacon. Now again, you can use chicken mince, you can use mutton mince, you can use beef mince. I like to go with leaner meat, so I'm using chicken, and even the bacon I'm using is chicken bacon, which is easily available. And now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of mixed herbs. I'm also going to be adding a little bit of chili flakes, about a teaspoon for a little bit of a spice kick, and 1 teaspoon of pepper. For those of you who watch my recipes know that I use a lot of pepper, and I just love the taste of pepper. And I'm going to add some salt to taste. And now to hold everything together, I'm going to be using about 3 tablespoons of breadcrumbs. So all I've done is just taken some slices of bread and made them into crumbs in my blender. And now just one more ingredient, and that is an egg. So I'm just going to beat the egg, and I'm going to add that too. So the eggs and the breadcrumbs really hold this whole the thing together and make it into a lovely loaf. So add the egg, and then all you got to do is just mix everything really well together. So all of the ingredients are nicely well incorporated. So let me know in the comment section whether you make your meatloaf like this or you have a different recipe. I would love to hear from you guys. And now I've just greased my loaf tin with a little bit of butter, and I'm just going to add this entire mixture. And now I just want to pack it down really, really well. Now this would be a good time to preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius, which is around 356 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 10 minutes. So pat it down really, really gently. And then we're just going to bake it in the preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 45 minutes. But do keep an eye on it because every oven is different. And here my lovely meatloaf is all ready. Doesn't it look nice and juicy? And I'm going to let it cool completely before I demold it. And you can see how well it's nicely baked, and the aroma in my kitchen is really amazing. I just can't wait to cut this up into slices and make some beautiful sandwiches. So let me know how you like this recipe. Do give it a try, and I'll catch you soon in my next video. Bye. Let's start with today's Pani Puri recipe. Now first I'm going to show you all how I make my sweet tamarind chutney recipe. Now here I've taken a bowl of maybe 2 cups of hot water. To that I've added about 1 cup of seedless dates or khajur, about a lime-sized ball of tamarind or chinsa, and about 1 cup of gur or jaggery, and I've kept it aside for 5 to 6 hours. Then I've strained all the liquid, and with a spoon I've mashed up all the pulp to get out, the maximum uh, of the pulp of the tamarind and the dates. And then I'm going to transfer this to a pan. I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of red chili powder, 1 teaspoon of coriander powder, and 1 teaspoon of cumin powder, some salt to taste, and I'm going to stir all of this and bring this to a gentle boil for 10 to 15 minutes till it becomes nice and thick. So you can prepare these chutneys a day before, so that lessens your work on the day you want to make the pani puri. So after this thickens, we're just going to transfer it to a bowl and keep it in the refrigerator. Now for the chutney, which is the spicy green chutney. This is also very easy, friends. So to my mixer pot, I've added about 5 light green chilies, the less spicy ones, about 2 cloves of garlic, 1 inch of ginger. I've ground it to a paste, and then I've added about 1 cup of fresh coriander and squeezed the juice of half a lime, and I also added some salt to taste, and I've just ground this with a little bit of water, maybe about quarter cup of water, and I got this green chutney. Now let's see how to prepare the filling as well as the pani puri water. Now I have some sprouted moong. I just pressure cooked it in my pan and for about 1 whistle on high and about 5 minutes on a simmer. And then I've strained out all the water. Now I'll leave instructions of how I've sprouted my moong in the description box below. Here I've taken 1 large mashed potato. I've added my boiled sprouted moong, for which all the water has been drained out. We're going to mix all of this very well together. We're going to add some salt to taste, and that is our filling. Now for the pani puri water. Here I've taken about 1 liter of very chilled water. I've added ready-made Pani Puri Masala. You can use any brand. Mix that Pani Puri Masala according to your taste as to how much you would like. Then I'm going to add my green chutney to taste and my sweet chutney to taste. So add a little at a time and see how you would like it. You can also add some salt. And now all we have to do is just assemble everything together and enjoy this chilled Pani Puri. So I have my water ready, my stuffing ready, my extra sweet chutney ready, and my Pani Puri puris. So the puri looks like this. One side is hard and one side is soft. So the softer side, you just knock it off with your finger like this and make a small hole. Then you just put your filling in. You can add some extra sweet chutney if you like, or you can just directly go for the water if you're satisfied with the taste of the water. But I always like the little extra sweetness of the sweet tamarind chutney. And then just take a bowl, just pour the water into it. You can directly dip it also in, but I find that the spoon is much more, less messier rather. And that's all, friends. And then just, wallop it out, you put it into your mouth and just enjoy this amazing Pani Puri. So if you don't want the chilled version, you can just have it with regular water. But believe me, the chilled Pani Puri tastes amazing. Now you can also add some bundi to the Pani Puri water. I didn't have any bundi, but otherwise it also adds a nice crunch. So that's it, friends, the Pani Puri recipe. I hope you like it. So guys, let's see today's lovely mini apple pies. So here I'm just taken one large apple, washed it really well, wiped it dry, and now I'm just going to cut it up into very small pieces. Now you can peel the apple and then cut them, but I like to keep the peel on for that extra crunch. So generally they do take off the peel for the apple pie, but I'm keeping the peel in. So now just chop it up into these small little pieces like this. Well, now apples are available, 12 months of the year, and this is a nice way to make a nice little small dessert. So now chop them up into these small little cubes like this. Use a nice sharp serrated knife, that way you'll be able to chop them up really easily. And now we're going to add to this the juice of half a lemon. This adds a flavor and it also helps to, retain the white color of the apples. Otherwise, apples do turn brown. So now mix this lemon juice really nicely with the apples. Now next I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of melted butter. This will keep the apples nice and moist. Again, mix the butter in well. Next, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Now, if you don't have brown sugar, you can use regular sugar. You don't need to use powdered sugar. You can use normal sugar, because once we bake it in the oven, it is going to all melt. And now I'm going to add just about 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. So I just took my cinnamon and just grated it on my very fine grater. And now I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of flour. Now I'm using all-purpose flour because this way the apple pieces will not stick together. They'll, they'll remain separated like this. Otherwise, they all tend to clump together. So with this flour, they kind of don't get too mushy or mixed up together. Now preheat your oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. So this is our mixture. Just set it aside. Now I'm working with my homemade puff pastry. I leave a link to how I make this pastry at home. It doesn't have any egg, it's eggless, and it's really simple to make. So I leave a link of how I make the pastry. You can make a pastry at home or you can buy ready-made pastry. So now just roll out the pastry, dust your surface with some flour and just roll out the pastry like this. Don't forget to preheat your oven. So I'm just going to cut off the edges so I get an even kind of a surface to work with. So I'm using my cookie pan and I'm just going to use some rounds to cut them. So I'm going to make about 6 pies. So I need 12 rounds. So I've buttered the surface of the cookie sheet. And I'm just going to place these like this. I'm going to put the filling inside. And I'm going to place the next 6 rounds on top of them like this. So you can use a regular wati or a cookie cutter that's round like this and seal it up really well. And now with a sharp knife, I'm just going to make a cross in between so that way the extra heat will, escape from it. And then I'm just going to brush it with some butter. And now I'm just going to bake it in a preheated oven for 180 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. And now you'll have a lovely aroma of your lovely pies baking in the oven. And they're all ready, guys. So just set them cool to room temperature before you demold them. And have them warm. You can also warm them up in your microwave whenever you feel like eating them. So I hope you liked today's short and sweet recipe. Do give it a try, and I'll catch you in my next video sooner than you think. This is Akshata signing off. Take care, guys. Bye.